Hello and welcome to Beyond Borders. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Beyond Borders is the podcast where we talk about the advantages and benefits of outsourcing, especially outsourcing in companies based in the Philippines. Welcome to Beyond Borders, Mr. Daniel Breese. Daniel is joining us here from ASW Global. It's an Australian company that provides international staffing solutions. As I said, welcome, Daniel.
Thanks, Neil. Very happy to be here.
Well, tell us a bit about yourself and how it is that you became General Manager of Growth at ASW Global.
Okay. My background, I was fortunate. I was drafted into the AFL, into the Aussie Rules football competition as a kid. As about 17, I spent a few years as a professional athlete. Unfortunately, that dream didn't pan out the way I'd hoped. And after a few injuries, and found myself working in professional services. In this instance, it was in real estate and property, where I was fortunate to cut my teeth in sales and negotiations. Shortly after that, I found myself running my own business. Probably too young and naive to be running my own business, but I guess by way of that, I was fortunate to do an MBA in failures of what not to do when growing a business. And I guess following that, I was fortunate then to join ASW, whereby I guess the lessons and learnings of business ownership I've now been able to convey to our clients. Over the journey now, I've now been with ASW or AS White for almost a decade. And having had the highs and lows of my own business over a decade, it's been a hell of a journey over the last 10 years here at ASW.
Now, I'm sure you're aware that the Philippines is kind of the international hub for offshoring, outsourcing, BPO. You're based in Australia. Is your staff in Australia? Is it in the Philippines primarily, or do you have staff in both locations that work elsewhere remotely?
We have an executive team in Sydney, an executive team of 8 staff. In Sydney, and then we actually have operations in 4 different countries overseas. The Philippines is our biggest, in Manila. We also have an office in Malaysia, in KL, in Thailand, in Bangkok, and also in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh. Certainly the Philippines is our fastest growing, and we have a collective of about 2,000 staff across those 4 countries, 5 countries, obviously, including Australia.
Now, that is quite a lot of folks. It's my understanding that you promote a high retention rate among your employees and have a great place to work certification as well. That's not something that is easily or haphazardly earned. How do you leverage this internal culture as a key selling point in your growth strategy to attract new clients?
I think the COVID experience was one where businesses where the war on talent was heightened at an absolute peak. We recognised that we were doing a good job in retaining talent, and that was becoming more important than even cost benefits was the attrition levels of businesses and being able to retain good quality people. And so it became a major focus for us, which was already a focus, but we doubled down on our team culture, our staff benefits, and also trying to align ourselves with clients who also really valued, those metrics in their own businesses. And so I guess by way of that, it became a real seamless fit for clients who were looking for, staff welfare, staff retention, hiring strategically. And I guess by way of that, we've been very lucky that not only have we been good in attracting the talent, but retaining the talent has been very pleasing both for ASW, but more so our clients.
As General Manager of Growth at ASW, you're operating in the Philippines, Malaysia, you mentioned Vietnam, I believe Thailand as well. Which of those particular markets present the biggest, I would say, growth opportunities and maybe some unique challenges as well? Seeing as how you are so successful, how have you been able to navigate the differences in culture and the like?
It's a very good question. I think where the Philippines has a unique advantage is particularly the English skills are exceptional. So I think that becomes a very seamless fit particularly for Australian businesses. I think culturally, it's also very aligned to our own, Christian backgrounds with Easter and Christmas and some of those calendar holidays that are aligned to our own market here. I think that from a growth perspective, it certainly has been our fastest growing location. I feel that's mainly due to the fact that it's so well established, particularly from America, by way of decades of investing in the talent in that market. And also, I think the other element, particularly for Australian businesses, perhaps more so than anywhere in the world, is the time zone is really favourable. And so we operate a 24/7 office environment, and our clients, whether they be in the US or perhaps Australia or the UK, are able to build a team that aligns with their local time zone, which again, I feel is complementary to their own local business needs, which is pleasing.
Are your services like a menu, or do you speak with clients and then tailor your services to fit that client, not necessarily having people that are staffed that are experts in that particular area at the time?
Yeah, so the model that the terminology that we often refer to is international talent partnering. And I guess within that is the managed services. And by way of that, we wouldn't consider ourselves a traditional BPO where, to your point, there's an existing bench of staff waiting for an opportunity to start working in a particular function. Really, the model is about building a dedicated and very integrated, embedded team into the local client's operations. And by doing that, we have to do a strategic recruitment process. Often we're headhunting talent by way of that process. And ultimately, the client becomes the final decision maker for determining hiring decision in that process. And so we feel that approach means that there's also a good cultural alignment, not just only in technical skills, but in that client's local culture fit. And so that, I think, also has lent itself to providing some really low attrition rates for the business. And so I guess to answer that question, we have a very strategic and personalised recruitment process, and then I guess an all-inclusive solution, which is in the managed services from HR to office and IT for businesses perhaps that are a little bit more discerning, want some governance around their team and some support around their team rather than perhaps light touch.
What is the main takeaway that you'd like our listeners to absorb this evening about ASW and ASW services? And they give us some contact information where our listeners can learn much more.
The takeaways, I think, for listeners is taking the first step and connecting up with either someone that you're familiar with who's doing international staffing or a provider perhaps that you're familiar with. I think that perhaps the concept is far more daunting than the reality, and businesses that have done it well will tell you how much they love their international teams. So I think from that perspective, I think the opportunity is enormous. In regards to, getting in touch with myself, I'm in the website, aswglobal.com, or on LinkedIn, you can find me, Daniel Breese, and reach out via a DM, and I'd be happy to have a confidential chat. I think the other thing I'd probably just part on is often we look at the opportunity by way of the skill sets as being perhaps data entry, low level perhaps capability. I think the opportunity though is far greater than just that sort of cost saving administrative work. I think the talent pool in the Philippines and the broader Southeast Asia market is quite exceptional, and that provides an enormous opportunity for Australian businesses, but also the US and UK to leverage their local team.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beyond Borders.
Thank you, Neil. Take care.
You've been listening to Beyond Borders, the podcast where we talk about the advantages and benefits of outsourcing, especially outsourcing to companies that do a lot of business or are based in the Philippines. We've been speaking with Mr. Daniel Breese, General Manager of Growth at ASW Global. Audio copies of this program are available at verticalinternetmedia.com. You can learn more about our BPO services at outsourcingfit.com.